2, 3. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I'm in my zone. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we're in our zone.
Got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet, got that hot blood in my body when it rocks. I can't take my eyes up off it, moving so phenomenally. Move, unlock the way we drop it, so don't stop.
Under the lights where everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm keeping you close. When we move, girl, you already know, so just imagine.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, 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 girl. You're creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all the things I shouldn't do when you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so just dancing. Can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance.
Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. Don't need no reason, don't need control. I'm flying high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone.
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet, that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Room unlock the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting too close. When we move, well, you already know, so just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feeling good, good creeping up on you when you dance, dance, dance. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feeling good, good creeping up on you, so keep dancing. Just dance, dance, dance. Just dance, dance, dance. Just dance, dance, dance. Keep dancing.
Got this feeling in my body.
Can't stop the feeling. Can't stop this feeling. Can't stop this feeling. Come on.
Thank you to our wonderful performers. Hi everyone, and welcome to Community Collage, a chance to see some of your peers show their passions. My name is Michaela and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I have embarked here at CMU by putting myself out of my comfort zone and taking risks. When I first came to CMU, I was shy and subdued. In fact, my biggest fear was standing in front of a large crowd and not being able to articulate what I wanted to say. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Through the love and support here, I have blossomed into someone brighter and more willing to take risks. This community of students and faculty has taught me that I have more strength than I ever believed that I had in me.
Hi, my name is Jeff, and I am a senior. And my pronouns are he, him, his. When I embarked on my journey here at Carnegie Mellon 3 years ago, I made a commitment to take risks. I took a risk by auditioning for Dancer Symposium and trying out for the volleyball team and joining social organizations. And these risks have rewarded me with some of the closest and strongest friendships and connections I've ever made in my entire life. I realize now risk equals reward. I encourage all of you in this tent to take risks, and I hope you will be rewarded similarly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Ernst, and I use she, her, thank you. And I use she, her, hers pronouns. I have embarked on my Carnegie Mellon journey because I try to be the best version of myself, not the better version of my peers. It's often easy to compare myself to the other students at CMU, which is something that I started doing during the week of orientation. I would encourage all of you to view these incredible people around you as mentors, not as competitors. I look up to my professors as I've looked up to my lifelong heroes, but I now know that I never want to be exactly like them. I want to be exactly like me, not the best version of my best friend or the best version of my mentors, but the best me that I can be.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I use she, her pronouns, and I have embarked at CMU by overcoming the pressure to perform and people please. Before arriving at CMU, I would constantly put the needs of others before my own, and I would never say no to anything that was asked of me. This led to an immense feeling of not belonging and not thinking I was good enough. I was too busy saying yes to everything. I never said yes for anything for myself. CMU and the supportive relationships I've built here have helped me to build my own identity and center myself on my own values. I have begun to find my ability to do what's best for me instead of putting on a mask and just fitting into my role and doing what's expected of me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nate Christie, and my pronouns are he, him, his. The first few days of orientation, I found myself following my roommate around everywhere he went. I only spent time with whoever he hung out with, and I found myself making very little of my own decisions. I realized sometime around the third day that if I wanted to really embark on my own experience, I needed to unhitch my boat from the people and things I was comfortable with. Shortly after, I sought my own interests. I took a beekeeping stuco, which actually ended up in me becoming a certified beekeeper. My floor won the chili cook-off. I joined a Christian ministry that allowed me to grow in my faith, and I got involved in club sports. I'm wearing this shirt, standing up here right now in front of all of you, because I want to help each and every one of you loosen up, cut yourself free, and learn to embark on your own journey. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Apeksha Tal, and I use she, her, hers pronouns. I embarked at Carnegie Mellon by trying to pursue passions outside of my personal career path. I came here as a pre-medical student with the steadfast goal of becoming a cardiac surgeon. I spent my first semester heavily immersed in the sciences, but quickly found myself craving a creative outlet. With a little courage, I was able to push myself to take up the English that I had loved so much in high school. I now have an additional major in English and get credits for reading that I probably would have done anyways. Who knows, maybe I'll even be doing English professionally in the future. I encourage you all to use your time here to pursue passions outside of your major. You might find something that you didn't know you were looking for.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo Tucker, and I use he, him, and his pronouns. At Carnegie Mellon, I've embarked on working hard, but making sure that I'm always having fun along the way. At such a high-achieving school, it's easy to get caught up in always focusing on your studies and your professional career, but frankly, I think it's okay to goof off sometimes too. So take advantage of all the fun clubs that we have here at CMU, spend some time just hanging out with your friends, and most importantly, treat yourself.
Hey guys, we are CMU Rasta. We're a nationally competitive dance team that competes around the country. We're performing a dance from the northern part of India called Garba Ras, and it has a small Western influence to it. So we hope you enjoy the performance, and welcome to CMU.
I just wanna be close to you. I just wanna show you the way I feel. Baby girl, you make my love go. You make my love go. अब अलबेला रे रासे रम बने मेला नंदजीना चल रे चौहारा चेला रे अब अलबेला के अब अलबेला के अब अलबेला रे रासे रम बने अब अलबेला रे रासे रम बने मेला कोई तने गान कहे कोई तने शाम कहे कोई कहे बंसीधर कृष्ण कन्हैयो आराधानो कानजी मीरानो गिरिधर को बाड़ो संगे तू रास रमैयो हे गरबे रंबाने आया सैयद की साथ मां हे रमीर यार अंग साली रे गब्बरवाली रे बाली वीर दारी मावड़ी गरबे रंबाने आया सैयद की साथ मां हे मनिते चूड़ी माने हो हे मनिते चूड़ी माने शोभी रही हाथ रे भैरवी संसार मां हे गरबे रंबाने आया सैयद की साथ मां रंगले रंगले सिया मेरे सभी तेरे रंग संग तेरे रंगले रंगले सिया मेरे सभी
When I was in the first grade, I made my first best friend. Her name was Sarah Prigaki, and her family had season tickets to Disney World, which automatically made her the coolest person in the whole world. My first year living on her street in Ossining, New York, Sarah invited me to her birthday party. And it was a costume party, so I told her that I'd be coming as Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile. It had been my Halloween costume that year, and I really wanted a chance to wear the blue armbands and the gold crown a second time. And I vividly remember making this statement to my mom, mainly because her response was not what I expected. "You're not wearing a Halloween costume," she said. "You can wear your Indian clothes instead. That would be a much better idea." And so when the day of Sarah's 6th birthday arrived, my mother dressed me in an orange and red pavade, which is a South Indian skirt and top, and sent me up the street. And I waltzed in with my arms covered in bangles instead of the blue armbands from Party City, and my forehead sporting a bindi instead of a gold Egyptian crown. And honestly, I don't remember anyone blinking an eye. I remember compliments on how pretty I looked and genuine questions about what the dot on my forehead was for. And it didn't matter to Sarah what I was wearing. I could still be Queen of the Nile if I said so. And that was the America that I grew up believing in, where anyone could be who they wanted to be, no matter what they looked like or what they wore or what they spoke. To this day, there's a photo on my desk of Sarah and I, her in a pink glitter Sleeping Beauty costume, and I in my orange and red pavade, both of us with missing teeth and the fearless acceptance of what is different that only comes with childhood. November of 2016 was the month I turned 20. I celebrated 20 years since I had been born in New York, 20 years of being American. But simultaneously, I was living in a country and a climate that was making me question the America that I believed in. I was tirelessly, and it seemed fruitlessly, searching for the America of my childhood. Everywhere, there were people verbalizing my biggest insecurity, that I didn't belong. That when I stood up to sing the national anthem, my voice wasn't heard. That my grandmother couldn't feel safe picking up her granddaughter in a sari, which she often did when I was little. That my 13-year-old brother could get called a terrorist in his suburban middle school, a reality we faced this December. That maybe I couldn't get ice cream after I went to the temple, not unless I changed my clothes and wiped off the saffron powder that we apply on our foreheads. So today, I'm here to challenge you, class of 2021 plus, student leaders, faculty, staff, and senior leadership. I challenge you to first ask yourself, what is your story? Your own beliefs on what America should be. Second, I challenge you to actively seek out the stories of the other people that you share this priceless soil with. Whether you've been here for all of your 20 years or you just arrived this morning, you have the incredible power to create change. And especially as members of a community like Carnegie Mellon, you have not only the power but the responsibility to create change, beginning with the way that we treat one another. There are so many stories here, stories of joy, of pain, of success, and of failure, and every single one of them longs to take its place in our collective narrative. So let them go, and take the new, unfamiliar, and maybe frightening stories and let them in. To start you off today, I'm giving you my story, the story of a first-generation American who read the Indian epic of the Ramayana as many times as she read Harry Potter, who loves being on stage, whether it's in the sound waves of a cappella or in the rhythms of Indian classical dance, who has a painting of Martin Luther King Jr. hanging above a statue of the Hindu god Ganesha in her room. I hope by accepting these challenges and by sharing our stories, we can rediscover the America I believed in my childhood, the one that my heart knows still exists. The America where across the country, whether it be in Westchester, New York, or Charlottesville, Virginia, a mother should be able to send her daughter up the street, clothed in their culture, and know that she will be welcomed with open arms. Thank you.
In the moment, I emailed Chernell with the subject line, "How can I avoid being a dumb white person?" Chernell organized this event and leads our Center for Diversity and Inclusion, so I thought that made sense. I basically asked her how to balance actually doing something when I see injustice and not being offensive to people who feel differently. She hasn't yet replied to my email, but she did give me this microphone and a quotation by Audre Lorde. She said, "My silence has not protected me. Your silence will not protect you." And I don't know if a white cisgendered male should be the one with this microphone talking about diversity to all of you. Everyone should have a voice in the diversity discussion, but maybe mine shouldn't be the loudest. So then I thought about what I was going to say in this minute-ish long speech, and I realized that a loud voice in this discussion and having this microphone, metaphorically at least, isn't a choice that I have. That's to say, I can't pretend that the privilege that comes with my gender and skin color isn't there. And because of that, I continuously have to be choosing between staying silent or amplifying the voices of those who don't always get a microphone in the conversation. So when I think about how I asked Chernell how to balance doing good and not being offensive, I realize that's totally just a euphemism for choosing between silence and being a good ally. So in my last 20 seconds, let me be a good ally. Even if you don't have the opportunity to be put in front of 1,000-ish people to talk about something you think you're totally not qualified at all to talk about, take time to think why you believe what you believe. Take each choice between silence and action as an ultimatum. Why should you be the one who gets to not be responsible for injustice you see right in front of you? If you can sit silent, that's a privilege you should consider giving up.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg. And I was running from my brother and his friends, and tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass I rolled down. I was younger then. Take me back to when I found my heart, broke it here, made friends and lost them through the years. And I've not seen the boring fields in so long. I know I've grown, but I can't wait to go home. I'm on my way, driving at 90 down those country lanes, singing to Tiny Dancer, and I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. One friend left to sell clothes, and one works down by the coast. One had 2 kids but lives alone. One's brother overdosed. One's already on his 2nd wife. One's just barely getting by. But these people raise me, and I can't wait to go home. And I'm on my way. I still remember these old country lanes when we did not know the answers. And I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill.
The summer in between my freshman and sophomore years of college, I went home for around a month. During that month, I learned that my dad had been going to a parent-child dialectical behavioral therapy group without a child. He tried to get both of my sisters to go with him to no avail. So when I came back, he suggested that I go with him. I only went twice because group therapy has never really been my thing, but I did take away something valuable before I called it quits. One of DBT's main philosophies is the concept of dialectical thinking. It's the idea that 2 opposites can be true at the same time. The example they gave in the group was, I'm sad you're leaving, I'm happy for where you'll be going and what you'll be doing. This struck a chord with me because I had been experiencing a dialectical situation of my own. Freshman year is an adjustment year for a lot of people, and it was definitely an adjustment year for me. I was getting used to the kind of classes I'd be taking and the new independence I was gaining. And I was used to living without my parents. I was the kid at sleepaway camp that left for 2 months, but it still felt a lot realer that freshman year. And so I didn't do very well. I was experiencing a lot of social and personal turmoil compounded by academic confusion, and essentially I left that year not sure what I was doing and where I was going from there. I make a point to be really open about the topic of mental health. I try to be candid about most things, actually. It's just who I am. By the time I reached that summer where I got a taste of what DBT was, I hadn't paid enough attention to my mental health, and I needed to. So I found myself in the first dialectical situation that I could identify by name. I wanted to come back to school and start my sophomore year, and I really didn't want to face what coming back to school meant, because it meant healing, and healing is hard. I am not a person who thinks that yoga and smoothies are going to solve all of my mental health problems. They help, sure, but what I really needed at that point in my life was to be introspective and take time for myself. I had to be emotionally vulnerable with the one person I was bad at being emotionally vulnerable with, which was also myself. Dialectical thinking is a virtue that really, really helped me. On a surface level, it taught me how to understand opinions that I don't agree with. It told me that I can think I'm right and someone else can think they're right. And in a way, we can both think we're right and be right, and it's okay. But on a deeper level, it taught me that I can want to heal, and I can not want to take the steps towards healing, and both of those things can be true at the same time. Once I accepted that, I could be as candid with myself as I am with everyone else. And I had a really good sophomore year, and I'm looking forward to having a really good junior year too. It's a good thing to check in with yourself. It's healthy to ask yourself how everything is going and how you're feeling. It's weird at first, but it does get easier. We're told to eat healthy and sleep and exercise, but we're not really told to make sure that our mental health is as sound as our physical health. That's something I ended up discovering on my own, though thankfully I didn't need to heal on my own. I was able to heal with the amazing friends I made my freshman year, and those friendships have continued into the present. It's important to find comfort in yourself and be secure in yourself and like yourself, but it's also okay to find comfort in others. You can be independent and also rely on the people that care about you. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Paul Harriman. I'm a sophomore here at CMU. I wrote this song a couple days ago. It's kind of my redemption song and a song that kind of makes you believe in yourself. If you guys ever need a creative outlet or you just like freestyle rapping, CMU Cyphers is great for that.
Yeah. You ever wake up feeling like it's not your best day? Like you don't feel like dealing with the stress weight. I've dealt with all the cards I've been dealt, and I don't forget the cards that I've already held. I hope that you can make some sense out of all this. But honestly, I'm just being honest. I put my soul on the track, I put my heart up on my sleeve. Why come I roll on the track? Why fall apart when I achieve? Why put my back against the wall? Why believe I won't start? Like I'm John Paul and I still haven't played my whole part. Hard to carry on with no belief in me, when I'm the only one who believe in me. Seriously, Daenerys for the dragon, Neo before the red pill, Biggie before the rap, and Bruce Lee before he had skill. Basically, I'm saying I'm the underdog with no blue cape, but still walking and get respects here in Odale. The truth is, I've held it down like when you overpack a suitcase. I melt the crown and mold it my way. Everybody ties themselves out. I found my own pace, write the lines to my own play. Hey, let me talk about school for a second. It's really important, yeah, I said it when I meant it. Don't be the persons that said they regret it. To work on something so hard only to forget it, and I'm out.
Next up is a video made by School of Drama media and costume designer, my friend Alex Reed. Alex has been involved all over campus with orientation, pre-college, and alumni relations. In making this video, she asked her interviewees, how have you embarked at CMU, and where do you hope to be post-graduation? She wishes that she could be here, but here's the video that she made.
Sometimes when you're feeling young and you're feeling tough and you're all caught up, but you don't walk right and you don't talk right, and there ain't nothing wrong with feeling strong. But I know what you're going through. I know, 'cause I've been there too. I don't walk right and I don't talk right, and there ain't nothing wrong with feeling strong. But I wanna be there for you, honey, working my job and making money. But I wanna be cool for you, baby. And I'm just a fool for you, girl. But you know, you're my whole world.
Oh, nuts. And I remember really liking it because I saw someone on campus who was like standing at a table advertising Humans versus Zombies, like that you could play on the cut, and I was like super excited about that. So that was my initial impression, and that was like what made me really want to go here.
And so I just applied, forgot about it, and then my fat letter came in the mail, and it was kind of like, what is this? And so in the end, I came here to school, so it turned out well.
My first year went great, and I am so excited when I tell other people about CMU, and people don't understand why I'm literally so happy about coming back to Pittsburgh, because it's not Florida or like LA, and it doesn't have like that big city appeal of like everybody wants to go there. Like,
originally I was going to be a business major, and then after doing pre-college design, I decided like that's like what I wanted to do, and I really liked it here, and I really loved the program and the people I met here, so I decided to commit, and then yeah, now I'm here.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm a senior in the Video and Media Design program. These past 3 years have been a whirlwind of new people, challenges, and experiences. And the person that I am today is not at all the person that I thought I would be when I moved to Pittsburgh 3 years ago. After all the things I've faced and the chances I've taken, the best gift that CMU has given me is an awareness of how quickly time passes, and of how I owe it to myself to try and make every encounter the best possible. Even if it sucks to go through, I try and apply every lesson I learned to the next experience, with the hopes of making that the best possible. This is just one of the many adventures we have to go through in life. And the best thing we can do for ourselves is make sure that the memories we make here deserve room in our brain space. This project is ongoing, and if you'd like to contribute your stories as to how you found your way to CMU, I'd love to hear from you. Have a great first year.
Do you feel it? Do you feel it in the air?
Do you feel the buzz, or is it just me? Trust me, something in the air, it's just above me. Something like a dream state, I can't even see straight. Do you feel the buzz, babe? Do you feel the buzz? Do you feel the buzz?
Hey guys, I'm Kai. In the moment, it was a sudden epiphany. I've always known this about myself, but I'd never acknowledge it. It was just one night after community advisor training. But it was a moment that was one of the key self-realizations that I've had since coming to CMU. I have a lot of identities that I identify with, I'm very comfortable with. Japanese, Mexican, gay, being someone who doesn't have a singular place to call home because I've lived in so many places. But being a nerd, the word nerd has always been painful. I never wanted to be called a nerd. I never wanted to call anyone else a nerd. That word is used as a weapon. It hurts people. But I shouldn't allow that to be a word that's used in a malicious way against me or anyone else. And in the moment, I realized that I needed to end with me. With my closest friends, all of which I've made at CMU, I've become someone who is frank with myself and ultimately have become proud of myself that much more. And hopefully, you guys will all have these experiences of learning of who you are in that moment.
Hey guys, I'm Keegan. I'm a sophomore. In the moment, I didn't know why they stopped running. Near the beginning of the track season, we had an optional practice, so naturally, no one showed up. It was just me and 2 seniors. And as we were practicing, the seniors slowly stopped running with me. Instead, they went to the side and then they became my own personal coaches. This may not seem like a big deal, but for me, it was the exact moment that I felt 100% part of this team, this school, and this community. Later, when I asked them about this, they had no idea what I was talking about. There's just so many people in this community who will just naturally become mentors for you. They may not be on a varsity sport with you, but they will be in your clubs, your classes, your housing communities. They're everywhere. I aspire to be the type of person that these 2 seniors were for me. And if you're in need of an accidental mentor, take a look around. No, actually look around. There are so many upperclassmen around you that would be phenomenal role models for you. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Morgan. I'm an RA in Welch on the Hill. Woo! And so when Ms. Chernell asked me to perform at Community Collage, knowing that I'm a psychology major and a music minor, I was a little bit floored. But one of the great things about Carnegie Mellon is that I never felt like I had to choose between my 2 passions. I've always been interested in singing ever since I first started as a kid in church. And I'm also interested in why people do what they do as conveyed by the field of psychology. So now I'd like to sing a song called Summertime from George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess. And I'll be accompanied by David Levin, who's an OC in Moorwood and a junior in the Tepper School of Business. So this song is something that's very important to me because when I first wanted to sing it around 13 or 14, my voice teacher at the time told me my voice wasn't mature enough, but now it is, and so now I get to share this song with all of you. Summertime in the
name's Jacqueline. I'm a rising senior, and I am an RA for McGill on the Hill. I am not someone who often talks about my faith. A lot of my close friends are not spiritual, and on top of that, my religion has been used as an excuse to incite violence too many times for my comfort sometimes. But the easiest way to talk about my faith is to talk about my community and music. Personally, I find spirituality to be a very personal thing. Maybe this is part of the reason that I struggle talking about faith with others. It's hard to be vulnerable and let someone see a part of you that is so deeply rooted inside of myself. But I'm not sure where I would be without my religion, and most importantly, the community I have found through faith. There's a saying in Christianity that the church is not a building, the church is a people. And while I admire the beautiful buildings used for worship, I agree with this statement. The people I met in my religious community have lifted me up in hard times, heard what I had to say when I questioned my faith, but most importantly taught me virtues like kindness, patience, and humility. Through my faith, I discovered my love of singing. I sing a lot. Anyone who knows me well enough knows that I love belting out musical numbers, even though I can't always hit the notes. My favorite hymn has a verse that goes like this. Through all the turmoil and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It finds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? This is almost a mantra for me and has always resonated deep within my heart. I feel most connected to my faith when I'm singing. It's hard to describe in words the feelings of lightness I get when I sing during a service. But what I think I may love most about singing is that it's so universal across faiths and across groups of people. Sometimes while singing a hymn or a solo for my favorite musical, I almost feel as if I am connected to the whole world and to the universe. When I first came to CMU, I was worried about feeling at home. I struggled finding a church to attend in Pittsburgh, and I would be miles away from the people who had supported me through my hardest times. I wasn't sure how I would navigate not having my community nearby. And after the first few weeks, I started to feel like I belonged in Pittsburgh, but it was a confusing feeling for me. How could I feel at home somewhere that didn't look like home? That's when I began to let go of the notion that home needs to be a physical space. Home is a feeling. The same feelings I felt around my church community, I began to feel around my group of friends. I began to find fulfillment in the organizations that I joined and the classes that I was taking, so much so that I began to feel connected to CMU, to Pittsburgh, and the people around me. When I realized that home is a feeling, I finally felt at home. I think there are two important takeaways from this. One, find your community. Find the people that will support you when you ask tough questions and when you struggle. It's good to find the people who won't mind sitting with you through a difficult situation, uncomfortable as it may be. Find the people who also push you to better yourself and be vulnerable around these people. Your community should be a group that transcends any sort of physical space. The community you build around yourself will protect you better than any physical building. The second takeaway is to find the things that will make you want to sing out. Find the passion that resides in your soul and that will make you feel brighter. It's necessary to look inwards, to reflect, and to learn from yourself. I don't think you need to be religious to be spiritual personally, and to make those inside connections with you and the people around you. I encourage you to find the things that will make you never want to stop singing. And once you learn to do these things, I promise you will feel at home too.
What's up, guys? I'm Peter. I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey, and true. And I wrote this piece out of all the anger and frustration that was inside of me after all of the hatred that occurred last week, specifically in Charlottesville, as well as the president's remarks regarding both sides being at wrong. So I hope you guys like this piece. My people already broke. We already hungry. We come from the bottom. We live in the projects. We come from homes filled with rats and roaches. Schools filled with guns and drugs and violence. Mothers and fathers who bury their young ones with tears enough to fill the world's oceans. Brothers and sisters with pain so deep in their hearts that they themselves can never understand it. We come from a place where our souls rejoice when another person is released from the chains that the world put on him. And we come from a place where we cry and mourn when another's freedom is taken away. I feel the pain whenever I look into my brother's eyes and know that I can do nothing to stop him from feeling so angry and lost. I feel the pain when I hear the youth speak of taking a life as if it won't take a part of their soul. I know there's a brighter day, I know it. But the darkness of the hour we live in removes all light of a bright future from our hearts. We struggle every single day to uplift our people from the bottom, to send our youth to schools where they may be able to change the world's perception of them, and to convince the white man that we are not the villain that he makes us out to be. We try, and we try, and we try to fight to prove that the color of our skin does not determine what kind of person we are. But every time we attempt to uplift ourselves, they throw us down into the dirt as if that is where we belong. We do what we can to change our fates and to make it so that one day, the concept of a black man succeeding in America is not so foreign. And we do what we can to make it so that our children will live lives where racism and hate do not exist for our people. They told us multiple times in the past that now you will be treated like a human. And yet every time I watch the news, another young man's life is taken by an officer who felt that his life was worth more than my brother's. You cannot chain us down like we are wild animals and tell us that we are the ones who are wrong. You cannot look us in our eyes and tell us that we are more angry and violent than those who hold malice in their hearts towards a person merely because of their skin or their religion. You put us in the positions that we are in now. You took away our schools and our libraries, and you gave us drugs and liquor and guns. And now you want to tell us that we are the bad guys and that we deserve everything we get? I ask you, if the tables were turned, do you think that you would be able to live through all the pain that my people have went through? Do you think that you would accept that your life meant nothing to someone else merely because of the color of your skin? Do you think that you would not rise up and fight against those who oppress you? So why do you expect me to? Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is John Daniel Haddad. I'm a senior. I'm an orientation counselor for The Hill. And I'm here to tell you guys about some stories. So when you walk past someone, do you ever wonder what their story is? See, everyone in the world on this campus has a story to tell. A story that comprises of experiences, successes, and defeats. that makes them the person that you see today. Most of the time, speaking for myself at least, I tend to forget these people have a story. You see, sometimes we get a little too carried in our own problems. It's funny because these problems seem to be missions to me, never-ending missions. Sometimes we don't realize other people's stories because we don't like to share our own. I know for me, that's been the case since I came to CMU. Some of the stories I'll be telling you today haven't touched the ears of some of my closest friends. Looking at all of you in this room, I remember my first year moving. Just me, dragging my 2 pieces of luggage up the endless stairs of Hammerschlag. Being the first person in my family to go to school in America, I didn't know what to expect. The week before moving in, my mother actually told me the Venezuelan currency system had collapsed and that they didn't know if they could pay for my college anymore. I still showed up regardless. What else was I supposed to do? Not the greatest way to start college, right? In fact, the theme of my first year encompassed how to pay for college. It got to the point where I was actually asked to leave my spring semester because my account was red in the fall. I will never forget when my grandma had decided to dump what was left of her savings so that I could continue even for just one more semester. I still don't know how to thank her 3 years later. I know what you're thinking. Here's this guy, and he's gonna talk to you about his successes and then his failures, and he's going to make us feel some type of way. But I assure you it's quite the opposite. I'm here to talk to you about wearing your failures and your struggles as medals. I know that phrase might resonate with some of you if you've heard that talk with Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. It really spoke to me. During my time at CMU, I can tell you about all the medals that I've accumulated, from the failed exams to getting cut from the varsity soccer team to the rejection emails from companies, even now as a senior failing to transfer majors. If I had enough time, I could entertain the crowd. But instead, I'm just here to tell you it's okay to fail, and it's okay to struggle, and it's going to be okay. I'm going to talk to you about maybe my shiniest medal, the one I wear with probably the biggest pride. When I was 17, my 4-year-old brother at the time was diagnosed with autism. Coming from a culture where it's simply taboo to talk about people with special needs, I had no idea what to think. What will happen when he's an adult? Will he get bullied at school for kids not understanding him? Will he ever be normal? As Sam has grown up, he's taught me that the word normal doesn't exist. We just like to throw that word around in society to people that don't fit our standard. I can tell you that Sam knows everything about Windows, his favorite operating system. He's still wondering what happened to Windows 9. I can tell you that Sam is a huge fan of keeping his apps up to date to avoid malware, and he'll do it for you too. And I can tell you that even though Sam does get bullied at school, he doesn't care about what other people think about him. He only cares about what his big brother thinks about him. It's kind of daunting to be so much older than him. He really does look up to me. He picks up even the smallest of things, the good and the bad. In fact, my mother recently called me infuriated because Sam starts every sentence with the word dude. I wonder where he picked that up. My mom has also told me on occasions that I might need to prepare to support him in the future in case my parents grow a little old. Honestly, that's fine for me because everything I do is for the people I love. See, despite my failures, despite all of the struggles, despite all of the unfortunate things that have happened in my life, I have something that keeps me going. I have someone that reminds me that the normal path in life doesn't exist. Every person has their own path. And as long as you face the world with a smile, I guarantee you good things will come. Just always remember that everyone has a story and everyone has a path. So treat them with the respect that they deserve. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Colleen Michelle McGovern. I am a junior vocal performance major studying with Maria Svakania. And today we will be performing Lori's Song by Aaron Copeland from The Tenderland, accompanied by David Levin. This piece resounds with me because the fact that a composer felt it was important enough to capture the ambiguity of the future meant a lot to me. It's about a girl about to graduate from high school and not exactly knowing where she's going to go in the future. This is Lori's Song.
Once I thought I'd never grow tall as this fence. Time dragged heavy and slow, but April came and August went before I knew just what they meant. And little by little I grew, and as I grew I came to know how fast the time could go. Once I thought I'd never go outside this fence. The space was plenty for me, but I walked down the road one day, and just what happened I can't say. But little by little it came to be. That line between the earth and sky came beckoning to me. Now the time has grown so short, the world has grown
in the moment, you are all feeling invincible. Deservedly so. You are some of the best students in the world, and you are way smarter than I am. I know, I saw all the statistics. But there comes a time in this voyage across college where your natural talents won't do you any good. And like the Scotty dog that is pictured on your shirt, you'll be cast in a canoe without any paddles, wondering where the rest of your time will go. And when you reach a time at Carnegie Mellon where you feel like you are lost inside, you have to reach down and find out what is important to you at your very core. And for me, my faith has been a way to center me, to help me weather the storms that appear on the horizon of life. Sometimes a commitment to the things that you care the most about can be very scary. One of my deepest fears that's very common to Carnegie Mellon students is, will I find a job? And this past summer, I took a new approach to that job search. I decided to be bold, and instead of looking for the sophomore year internship, I decided that I was going to invest more into my faith and take a mission trip to China. And for me, this was insane. Like, I don't know any Mandarin, I've never left the United States before, and I was going entirely alone. But I didn't let my fear control me, and I was willing enough and brave enough to find my own path. And I just hope that for you too, in the class of 2021, that you will find what centers you, and that you will express your own individuality in the way that is best suited for you.
Hello, my name is Katie Dyer. I'm a rising sophomore and an OC for Mudge House. In the moment, this moment, I want to reflect upon when I lost myself. After an amazing introduction to CMU, I'd begun to withdraw in fear that the real me wouldn't be accepted into this incredible community that I'd just found. Fear that switching majors and pursuing my passion was too impractical. Fear that people would assume it was because I just couldn't handle the academic pressure. Fear that coming out of the closet would alienate me from all the new friends I'd just met. And fear that setting healthy boundaries to relax and enjoy the hobbies I love would put me behind all of my incredibly talented and driven peers. As I increasingly isolated myself in my dorm room, telling myself that my heart was in the work, not truly understanding what that meant, my struggles with depression returned more severely than ever before. But what I eventually came to realize was that you can't put your heart into the work if you haven't found it first. After conquering my fear of vulnerability and learning to trust my gut, I now know that CMU magic does not just come from work, but from a deep connection with the passions and values that drive each of us as individuals. Class of 2021 plus, be brave and dig deep. Thank you.
Little bad Trini bitch, but she mixed with China. Real thick, smuggle bricks to China. I tell all my niggas, cut the check, bust it out, turn your goofy dog, pound. I'ma do splits on it, yeah, splits on it. I'm a bad bitch, I'ma throw fits on it. I'ma bust it open, I'ma go stupid and be a fits on it. I don't date honey, cookie on tsunami. All my niggas wife me once they get that good. I think he need the bunny. I might just let him find me. Never trust a big butt and a smile worth the Ronnie. Rep queens like Supreme, ass Web and Nitty. Ass been me and Joe, working from me my dog. This game is freezing like it waiting the cow. Nickname is Nikki, but my name ain't a cow.
I tell all my rake it up, break it down, bag it up. Fit up, fit up, fit up, fit up, bag it up, bag it up, bag it up, bag it up, rake it up, rake it up, rake it up, bag 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 it up.
I got broads in Atlanta, to the V in the family, credit cards in the scammers, in the licks in the van, legacies, family, see them like a plan, going out like a Montana, the killers on the hands, legacies, family, racy, family, pockets full, down, selling ball, lean on the macho like Randy, the traffic go out to the granny, this nigga pull up your panda.
Hello. Hello. My name is Lanray, as I said. I'm gonna take a couple trips down my memory lane. Firstly, I think back to one of my first studio art courses. It was drawing one, and I decided to make this like series of portraits for our final project. And it was gonna be like a family member, so my mother, daughter, brother, grandfather, father, and then me, a baby. And they were gonna be drawn in this like frantic, chaotic way with these like angsty expressions to kind of decide, or to kind of be a metaphor for my own upbringing in a like chaotic home. And so I placed them in a circle with me at the center, and it went really well. Like the critique went well. My professor even told me like after the class that he liked the way my final project turned out. It wasn't until though that like I reflected on this project with new eyes 2 or 3 years later that I realized that everyone in the portrait series, this portrait series that was supposed to be a metaphor for my existence, my upbringing, my childhood, all the people that I drew were white. The reference pictures that I used to draw them were white. And they were basically just white people standing in my position. Another story. I think back to my the summer before my freshman year at Carnegie Mellon. Like maybe some of you, I was a little worried and intimidated by the environment that I was about to encounter. And so I read and I studied vehemently, trying to get ready for bumping into all these intellectuals at Carnegie Mellon. And so I read Thoreau, Emerson, Tim O'Brien, Robert Greene, Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, all these people that I thought would like beef up my lexicon and make me witty and smart. And then as I reflected again, I realized that all the people that I was studying were rich, a few dead, white men. Another one. I think back again to when my father would tell me about sagging my pants when I walked through the street. He would go on about profiling and how because I looked the way I looked, I was a target. And every time I would be like, I would refute him. Because in history class, they told me that was over with MLK. So I was like, Dad, no, that can't be possible. I'm not a target. I'm not one of them. I'm wearing khakis and Sperry's. Like, come on, even if my pants are sagging, they're not going to come after me. Because I have a proximity to whiteness that makes me less of a target. And then I think back a couple years ago or a few years ago to the morning of Trayvon. And then later the morning of Sandra and Philando and Freddie and Rakia and Mike. And then all these events started to come together. I started to see clearer and clearer that I didn't really have any idea who I really was. I had no idea of the history of my people in this country, nor the way my identity was constructed in it. I started to see how I viewed whiteness as default, whiteness as smart and intellectual, and how I started to see blackness as lesser, inferior, and not as smart. I internalized these things, and as I undid them, I started to see how even in the 21st century, this country has yet to consider me because of the way that I look as human. One more trip down memory lane. I think back to the election last November of 2016. And even more recently, the riots of the white supremacists and KKK members in Charlottesville, Virginia. I remember the trauma and the anger that I experienced during those moments, but even more vividly, I remember the shock and the surprise and the disbelief of white people that surrounded me. The shock and the disbelief of the white people that thought that were surprised that even in 2017 or 2016 that this country still possessed all these vices that we thought we weeded out much long ago. And then I realized slowly and slowly that it wasn't just me that was a black man that didn't realize who he was. It was also white people that didn't realize who they were. And then I looked even deeper, and I realized that it was males that didn't realize, and cisgender people that didn't realize, and heterosexual people that didn't realize, and able-bodied people, and rich people who didn't know who they were. It wasn't until I started to question why I do the things I do and why the world around me is the way it is that I started to develop a deeper understanding of the context and the politics of my existence. And I think it's important for all of you, especially those of you who stand with more privilege and thus more ability to influence and more opportunities to change, to do the same. The majority of you have gone through education systems that have failed you or failed to show you who you are and how you relate to this country and the world at large. This university can also fail you if you let it. Because you're not required to take any classes regarding the colonial origins and history of this country. You're not required to join any clubs with people that don't look like you. You're not required to sit and pause and step away from the code or the stage or the easel and observe the inequity in the environments around you. Until things change, a lot of you are going to have to do that work on your own. And it can't be only the job of oppressed people to inform you. And if you don't do these things, I personally don't believe much will change. We'll just go in through this school, then go out into our jobs, and go ahead and perpetuate the same systems that we thought were over, only to end up shocked again in the end, wondering how this country is still what it was made to be.
The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came.
hit me like the sky fell on me, fell on me. And I decided you look well on me, well on me. So let's go somewhere no one else can see you and me. And turn the lights out now. Now I'll take you by the hand, hand you another drink. Drink it if you can. Can you spend a little time? Time is slipping away, away from us. So stay, stay with me. I can make you glad you came. The sun goes down, the stars come out, and all that counts is here and now. My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came. You cast a spell on me, spell on me. You hit me like the sky fell on me, fell on me. And I decided you.
What's up, guys? My name is Ian Asenho, and I'm one of the captains of the CMU Bhangra dance team here on campus. So Bhangra is a folk dance that comes from Punjab, which is a state in northern India, and our team works very hard every year in order to spread this culture throughout the United States. But before we perform for you guys, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how I got here and how CMU Bhangra has impacted my journey here at CMU. So I was born and raised here in Pittsburgh. While I've lived here all of my life, my family has always valued knowledge and understanding of foreign cultures and has worked hard to instill this value in me from the time that I was born. My father, an Argentine, had inspired me to become nearly fluent in Spanish in high school, giving me the opportunity to travel all over Latin America during my summer breaks. My mother, who is of Slovak and Italian descent, studied Hindu traditions at the Sri Venkateshwara Temple in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and was able to pass on her interest in Asian religions onto me. When I came to Carnegie Mellon, I knew that I wanted to explore these interests in much more depth. My first exposure to Bhangra occurred in high school, and knowing that CMU had a Bhangra team as well, I wanted to learn more about it. In fact, I remember sitting at Community Collage my freshman year, watching the team perform, and immediately knowing that this was something that I really wanted to do. I tried out and was given a spot on the team. After I joined the team, Bhangra became more than just an extracurricular activity for me. It was quickly becoming part of my identity. Hours of my week would be spent practicing, watching Bhangra videos, and performing at competitions hosted by other universities. As a member of a team that spends so much time together, I became very close with my fellow dancers. My teammates didn't just become my friends, but my brothers and sisters. However, one thing that I never dwelt on was the fact that I was a non-Indian. Although my green eyes and ginger hair always made me easy to pick out in team pictures, I never felt that I didn't belong. As I became more involved in Bhangra, my interest in Punjabi Sikh and Indian culture grew as well. I began learning more about the Sikh religion, attending Gurdwara, and aiding in Sikh temple service on the weekends with our former captain, Tejasvir Singh. My sophomore year, I applied for a scholarship to study Punjabi in Chandigarh, a city in northern India, where I was able to experience the culture that I'd been learning so much about. My junior year, I decided to take a step back from dancing. I wanted to give myself a break from the long practices and pre-competition stress in order to focus on my studies and personal growth. However, before long, I began to miss performing with my friends. I had forgotten what the team meant to me. It wasn't just a group of people performing together, but a support system. A group of people with whom you study, eat, and hang out. They don't just become your teammates on stage, but they become a part of your life. That was something I had to come to appreciate by stepping away and wonder what was missing. While Bhangra has had a personal impact on its performers, I am a firm believer that it is a much more powerful social purpose. A dance like this doesn't just flourish in the United States because of its colors and its music. A dance like this flourishes because it shows a kid wearing a turban in Columbus, Ohio, that it's cool to be proud of your culture. A dance like this survives because it attracts the attention of someone from my background who wants to preserve just a piece of such a beautiful tradition. It survives because it shows the world that our freedom of speech and our appreciation of global culture can still thrive no matter who's in the highest positions of power. A dance like this survives no matter what's happening in Charlottesville, Virginia. The Bhangra team gave me a family, but also a passion. Each of us enters CMU the same way, but it's our duty to find our own family, our own passion, our own Bhangra. If there's one piece of advice I can give you from my experience, it's to not be afraid to take that dive, whatever that may be. Half of the dancers on our team had never danced in any form before college, but found themselves loving Bhangra in ways that they never would have expected. So keep an open mind, because you never know where you'll find your CMU family. Thank you.
Carnegie Mellon is a great example of what it means to move forward.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Damn, son. CMU.
Chaya, 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 chaya,
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Ernst, and I am the head orientation counselor for Morewood E Tower and Morewood Gardens. Yeah. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a rising senior in the School of Drama studying dramaturgy, and I also have a minor in professional writing in the Dietrich College of Humanities and Social Sciences. I feel extremely lucky that I am able to study all over this incredible university. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and I consider myself to be a crossword puzzle enthusiast and a budding expert on the American First Ladies. Yeah, right? First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you on your acceptance to Carnegie Mellon, and thank you for accepting CMU back. This university is unlike any other, and I am certain that all of you, even a group as large and as diverse as yours, will find places where you feel comfortable and welcomed on campus. My friends often tell me that I'm too nostalgic, but I consider my nostalgic tendencies to be one of my best qualities. So, of course, I can't hesitate to tell you a story. In July of 2013, I came to Pittsburgh and CMU's campus on my first visit as a potential student. My dad and I were walking past our iconic statue, Walking to the Sky, and he has vividly recalled that I turned to him and said, "Only the really good people come here. I would never get in." As my friend Michaela said in our opening remarks, kind of ironic, isn't it? For the first 2 years that I was a student here, I wondered if I was truly good enough to be a student at such a prestigious and rigorous university. I turned in what I considered to be my best work, which frankly wasn't very good at all, because I was overthinking every decision I made, every piece that I produced, and every paper that I wrote. I was afraid to do work that was vulnerable, brave, and a strong example of myself. I was distracted and frustrated and not thinking about my own wellness. As they say at CMU, my heart simply was not in it. It meaning my work, but also my social life and my health. My lack of confidence hindered me from doing what I wanted, joining the orientation staff before my sophomore year, telling my best friend that I had feelings for her, and maintaining the grades that I wanted to uphold. Then things started to change during my junior year. For me, things often come gradually, and I finally began to change my habits throughout my third year because I wanted to feel better about myself and about my academics. I proofread more, I paid closer attention to feedback, all of those things your professors tell you to do, and I took risks like applying to be on the orientation staff and asking out that girl that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, right? Yeah. Clearly, orientation somehow paid off, and I am very happy to say that I've been with my girlfriend for 1.5 years. Yeah. Once I started believing in myself the way my parents did, the way my professors did, and the way my friends did, I began to change the way that I walked through the world. I have dedicated so much of my time to giving back to this incredible university and to orientation, which are what made me believe that I can do anything if I want to badly enough. I am forever grateful for all of the people who have taken chances on believing in me, which I'm hoping to do well with. So now, for all of you, I am here to tell you that I believe in you. Your orientation staff believes in you. Your friends from home believe in you. Your professors and faculty members believe in you, and your new friends believe in you. Don't spend 2 years figuring out that you can do what you need to do. I wish that I could say to you, do this and you will succeed at Carnegie Mellon, but I don't think that any of us have that recipe. We all have our own antidote, though, so here is a bit of mine. Carnegie Mellon has taught me that no matter how hard you plan, you still have to wing it sometimes. The best things in life take hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of love. If you are incredibly passionate about your major, sometimes you will still hate it. If your major is something you do just because you're good at it and not because you love to do it, then do yourself a favor and really consider changing your path. When you are lonely, you are not alone. And most of all, obligations are not what drive your passions. You are. I am first and foremost a student. I am a different person than I was 3 years ago. And I am all of those things that I wanted to be. More vulnerable, brave, and I am still learning to be completely myself. I can only hope the rest of you the same in the next few years. Thank you. Okay. I would like to offer my special thanks to Ann Wichner, the Director of Orientation, and to my 6 other HOCs, Michaela, Ricardo, Jeff, Nate, Apiksha, and Caitlin. I would also like to thank Chernelle Smith for putting together this amazing event. And also for all of her hard work with the brand spanking new Center for Diversity and Inclusion. There's going to be an event on Tuesday, shameless plug. Go check it out, it's in your booklets. And I would also like to thank all of you for being such an amazing audience. Please give yourselves a round of applause. It is my sincerest hope that all of you will be up here someday showing your passions to an incoming class. I think Oakland and Stever and Mudge are heading to dinner. Yeah? Okay. Have an awesome day. Have a great rest of the week. Please put on your black shirts for Playfair.